Mark Milley, when he came in 2019, thought he was dealing with Mr. Rogers. It took until Lafayette Square the next year for Mark Milley to fully understand what he's dealing with here.
Captain Luis Avila, a U.S. soldier, severely wounded by an IED explosion December 2011 in Afghanistan.
According to a stunning new profile in The Atlantic, following wounded Army Captain Luis Avila's rendition of God Bless America, Trump walked over to congratulate and embrace him. But moments after that, the former president told Chairman Milley, quote, "Why do you bring people like that here? No one wants to see that, the wounded. Never let Avila appear in public again."
I think that was a moment that was deeply unnatural.
But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Thank you.
And today, Trump's longest-serving former chief of staff, John Kelly, is chiming in with his harshest criticism yet. In an exclusive statement to CNN, Kelly says about Trump, "What can I add that has not already been said?" Calling President Trump, quote, "a person that has no idea what America stands for and has no idea what America is all about." For the first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight with on-the-record confirmation of a number of damning details about Donald Trump from background sources, including from a 2020 Atlantic story reported with unnamed sources by editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, including the stunning detail that Trump turned to Kelly on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery in 2017 and asked, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This is Kelly confirming on the record stories of Trump insulting Senator John McCain and former President George H.W. Bush because in Vietnam and in World War II, respectively, the former aviators were shot down. Kelly describes Trump as, quote, "a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all, quote, suckers because, quote, there is nothing in it for them. A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because, quote, it doesn't look good for me. A person that demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star family, for all Gold Star families on TV during the 2016 campaign, and rants that our most precious heroes who gave their lives in America's defense are, quote, losers and wouldn't visit their graves in France. Kelly confirming on the record a story reported in the book The Divider, where Trump tells Kelly he wants a military parade, like one he saw for Bastille Day in France, except he does not want any wounded veterans. Kelly confirming that Trump in 2018 in France refused to visit graves of Americans killed in World War I. To CNN, Kelly calls Trump a hypocrite, saying he is, quote, not truthful regarding his position on the protection of unborn life, on women, on minorities, on evangelical Christians, on Jews, on working men and women. And he concludes Trump is, quote, a person that has nothing but contempt for our democratic institutions, our Constitution, and the rule of law. He concludes, there is nothing more that can be said. God help us.
You were not able to serve in Vietnam because of a bone spur condition in your feet. Do you wish you'd been able to serve? Would you like to have served your country?
Well, I was never a fan of that war, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was a terrible war. I thought it was very far away. Nobody ever, you know, you're talking about Vietnam, and at that time, nobody ever heard of the country.
Would you like to have served generally, perhaps in another?
I would not have minded that at all. I would have been honored, but I think I make up for it right now. I look, $700 billion I gave last year, and then this year $716 billion. And I think I'm making up for it rapidly because we're rebuilding our military at a level that it's never seen.
I'm making up for it rapidly because we're rebuilding our military. First of all, what do you mean by rebuilding our military? Our military was still, I mean, and has been the most powerful military in the world. Okay, and secondly, you're not rebuilding anything. You are taking taxpayer money and increasing funding to an already bloated military budget, and the vast majority of that money doesn't go to our soldiers. Our soldiers are notoriously underpaid. The vast majority of that money goes to private military contractors.
Thank you.
So you're not building anything, okay? You don't understand. Vietnam is very far away.
It's very far away.
And nobody even knew what Vietnam was.
When there's a war in Maine, if I'm a fan,
I'll take a meeting.
If I'm a fan, yeah.
How are you going to support this guy? He's just idiotic and has shown over and over again that he doesn't respect the troops. He has said horrible things about soldiers and members of the military, previous members of the military that he just disagrees with. It's crazy.
I was fortunate to really not have to go. This was during the Vietnam period, and we were in a very, very highly contested and unpopular war.
June 1964, Trump registered for the draft after he graduated from the New York Military Academy. He received 4 education deferments while he was at Fordham and Wharton. Then, September 1968, Trump, starting his real estate career, got a medical deferment because of a bone spur in his foot.
I had deferments because of college, like a lot of people did. Numerous deferments because of college, and I had a foot thing, and I had deferment for that.
Despite the fact Trump had been active in various sports, including basketball and baseball.
The battles have no fixed front.
Trump often explains it was his high draft number, 356, which spared him from going to Vietnam.
That was an amazing period of time in my life. I was sitting at college watching. I was going to the Wharton School of Finance, and I was watching as they did the draft numbers, and I got a very, very high number, and those numbers never got up to.
But as it turns out, the draft lottery was never a factor when Trump was in college. According to Selective Service records obtained by CNN, Trump had been out of school for 18 months before the lottery even began. The Republican candidate prides himself on being a champion for veterans.
And we're going to take care of the vets, believe me. We're going to take care of their medical. We're going to take care of the vets.
Today, a veteran gave Trump his Purple Heart.
I always wanted to get the Purple Heart. This was much easier.
And now for a quick word from our sponsor.
Temporary bone spurs is a debilitating disease temporarily affecting 1 out of every 45 presidents. Sufferers experience pain that is described as mind-numbingly mild and excruciatingly fine and occasional, while its effectiveness as an excuse for military service is immediate and long-lasting. Temporary bone spurs is genetic, often appearing in cases of patients whose dads own a lot of buildings. We must fight harder to support those who suffer from TBS. Let's all remember to take a moment and honor those who have actually struggled.
You dirty boy, you. Oh.